Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review video, and here we have the Amazon exclusive Hasbro 6-inch G.I. Joe classified series. This is the Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. Again, exclusive to Amazon in the States and the UK, I believe, but I got mine from Doming Toys, so link in the video description below. I think they still have some left in stock. Now, please do keep in mind, I pay them extra to get it expedited shipping out to me. They send it out FedEx, so they shipped out, you know, Thursday night, Friday morning or whatever, and I got it today. If you do the standard shipping, which is a lot cheaper, it can take upwards of a month, maybe even 2 months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So that happened with my Iron Man 2020. It took 2 months to get in, but before the pandemic, I was actually able to get things in like 8 to 14 days before with standard shipping. It's all crazy right now, so be patient if you order and get it through standard. The expedited is not something that they offer through the website, so just a heads up there. But again, thank you to Doming Toys for getting this shipped out to me right away. So let's take a look at it. So we see number 14 there, and obviously, of course, Cobra there. Here on the side of the package, we have all the different insignias for the Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. We actually have some like comic type artwork right here on the side, which is interesting looking. You know, it's a departure from the other artwork that we've seen in the line. Well, I guess that one's a little bit more comic booky too, but so let's say like Gung Ho, which has kind of a more of a realistic look to it, and then like say the Cobra Trooper. Very different art style with the Storm Shadow there. And I think that's probably because of what this figure was inspired from. There is an Arctic Mission Storm Shadow figure in the old 3 3/4 inch line. This is basically a upscaled version of that. Obviously some updated things and things like that, but that's what it is from. Notice on the artwork, and actually I don't know if you guys could see this, there's actually a lot of details actually in the suit. It has kind of like a paisley design, so that is pretty interesting. Looks good, but that's enough talking about the package. Let's open it up. Okay, and here is the Storm Shadow figure out of the package, and let's get right to it. Let's zoom in, take a look at all the accessories that he comes with, a closer look at the figure, and then we'll get into the articulation and some comparisons with some other Joes. Here we go. Okay, so here is a close look at Storm Shadow, and you know what? It looks pretty good. He's got some crazy looking eyebrows going on in there, so that's kind of interesting. As far as weapon storage, you know, all these other figures seem to have been able to store all their weapons together and everything, but Storm Shadow could only do a couple of things. So his quiver, which ports on into his back, as you can see the little peg, ports right on back there. Nice gold paint on the back. It's very flat looking though, so that's just kind of weird, but that ports right on in the back there, and then the sheath for his sword ports right on into the quiver itself as well, so you can do that with his weapons. But the other thing, so his bow doesn't do anything. There's no string, but it looks pretty good. It's got gold paint and then black for the handle portion, and that looks pretty good. He comes with one arrow that's just done in all kind of that off-white eggshell color, so nothing special to it, but I guess it looks pretty good. Then we get I think this sickle, right? This would be like with wall rock climbing in the snow. It's all white, which I think is odd, right? It should be a little bit of a different color, but hey, the weapons all match in color, right? So there's that. And then we have this grapple hook right here, which is all done in, again, white, of course. But the cool thing is it actually has string, so you can do, you know, photography and things like that. And the string is crazy long. Yeah, that's a long piece of string for that grapple hook, so that is nice. Looking at the sheath and the sword, so the sheath is just that same off-white color there. The sword looks good. The handle of the sword is white, but the blade of the sword is painted in silver, so not just a gray color, it's actual silver paint, which is quite nice, as you can see there. And then the quiver is done with black plastic and then gold paint. So the logo here, and forgive me, I don't know exactly what the logo is. I think it's from either their village or wherever they're trained, because Snake Eyes uses the same one, but red color, of course. The bows, the feathers of the bows in the quiver all have gold paint. That is the same gold paint from his bow, and that looks nice. So looking at the figure, not the Storm Shadow that everybody wants, but definitely not a bad figure. So one weird thing is the hood, depending on how you sit on there, it can look really bad. So you want to make sure to push it all the way down into where it kind of makes sense. But you can actually remove it. So I was going to try and pop the head off, but I guess that just kind of came off. I tried it earlier, but I guess, you know, it's rubber, so you can kind of move it around. But there is a Storm Shadow without that hood. Now, is this the Storm Shadow head that we'll get when we get a classic Storm Shadow, or a more classic, probably modern design at first? Yeah, maybe, but in white paint. But here, the black one comes out looking pretty good. The eyebrows, again, are crazy on this, and I don't know if it's just the paint on mine, or it just seems a little off right there where the eyebrow kind of goes into the mask. But overall, pretty good. There's no additional paint or anything on there, but it's sculpted nice to give it some texture. That looks pretty good. We get some gold paint here on the shoulders and then on his chest right there. And then we get some white paint over some of these black areas, and that is very reminiscent of that 3 3/4 inch figure from years ago. There's the back again. These shoulder pads right here, you can see that they're actually attached right inside like that butterfly. So it's kind of odd. So it'll move with the arm, which is good, but it just does look kind of weird at first, and then it moves with it, so when you move the shoulder up, you're good to go. We have this skirt piece which has a lot of pouches and things, not a lot of paint going on in there, a little bit of gold paint right there in the front, a little bit of black paint, but the rest of it is just the molded rubber plastic color. His legs just kind of all black, but the knees get that same off-white color into the boots, into the feet. It's all sculpted nicely. Paint is a little sloppy here in the front, but not terrible, so just be aware of that. But looks really good. Now let's zoom out and take a look at his articulation. Okay, so just to show some of the accessories kind of put to use, you know, with the grapple hook, you can kind of toss it and put the string into his fingers so it kind of holds to where he's kind of getting ready to toss it, and then you can kind of have him hold it on the other side, of course, kind of however you want. It is a little bit difficult because you kind of have to work it into his hand right there, because the kind of the closed hand, it makes it a little bit difficult, but if you just kind of warm it up and stretch it out, you know, it sure shouldn't be an issue. But this, I believe, is a sickle, but this hook piece, you know, you could do the same thing. You could just kind of have to force it into his hand, because his hand are closed in there pretty tight. So if you're going to do something to where, you know, he's trying to do climb up a cliff or doing some rock climbing, you know, he can use it to kind of anchor himself into the side of the cliff there. So there we go. Okay, so for Storm Shadow's articulation, first we're going to start it off with him wearing the hood, because it is going to kind of hinder a little bit going back. So it's hard to get him to look up, because then you're just going to want to pop that hood off. But he was able to look down fairly nicely. So let's go ahead and take that hood off and look at the head by itself. So he can look down that much. He can look up only that much. So not a whole lot, especially if he's going to be doing some rock climbing. So that's a little frustrating. He's got a ball hinge on the neck, and then the neck itself has a ball within the torso, so you can get all kinds of circular motion and crazy motion going on in there. You get the full rotation, of course, and you do get some pivot going on there in the neck. Arms go up super high, and again, that padding is in there with the shoulder, so it does not get in the way, so it'll actually move around with the arm. But sometimes it kind of throws off a little bit, so you kind of want to hold it in place best when you kind of move the arm around. He has an upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow, which gives you that much bend. As you can see, wrists swivel, and there is kind of the roll of the dice hinge on the right hand. Left hand has that same hinge as well, so that's good that we get matching hinges this time. There is a butterfly joint, so you can get the arm to go back only so far, and you can get it to go forward a little bit, not a whole lot. It kind of pushes into this chest armor piece there to kind of give you a little bit more, trying to get crossbody, so that is pretty good. We got the ab crunch there, so you can go back that much. Crunch forward, he can crunch that much, but we get that diaphragm rocker as well. So using both, he gets a little bit more going down. Going back, he gets a little bit as well. One thing that's weird is these legs seem to want to go very close together for some reason. and I'm not sure what it is. It's a little bit stiff, kind of moving the legs out, but you know, they can move around. He can do the full-on splits, as you can see. He can kick up very high because he does have, again, the drop-down hips. So if you want to do it without dropping them down, you can only kick so far forward, but pulling that hip down is where you can get the leg to go all kinds of crazy different ways. There is an upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed knee, but one thing that's very ugly with the knee is because that knee pad is a different color. They use the hinges to have that same color, whereas some of the other ones, I don't think we had that issue, or it blended in a lot nicer. So that's just really ugly looking in my opinion. There is no boot swivel on this guy. Foot hinges all the way down. Hinges up slightly. Ankle pivot and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So typical articulation, but no boot swivel. And then the legs, to me, I don't know if it's just because they're really thin below the knee or what it is, but they just kind of want to keep going together, which is kind of odd looking. But there's his articulation. Now let's see how he stacks up to some other Joes. Okay, so first up here is Storm Shadow next to Destro and the Cobra Trooper. These are the only members of Cobra that I have reviewed so far. So I have the Cobra Commander, but I have not yet had a chance to open this guy up yet. So in this review, I will do a size comparison of all of them for you guys to see. Now let's see the one that everybody wants to see. How does Storm Shadow look next to Snake Eyes? Here we go. And here it is. Storm Shadow next to Snake Eyes. Not the Storm Shadow I think everybody wants, of course, but Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. And I think they measure up quite nicely, as you could see. Well, Storm Shadow actually might be a little bit on the short side. Let's get that hood removed. No, they're about the same height, and I think that looks really good. You see them side by side. So I can't wait till we get a more classic or modern looking Storm Shadow in all white. I think that's going to be awesome when we get that. So there they are next to each other. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think seeing these two next to each other. Okay, so my final thoughts on Storm Shadow. I think it's a very good figure, but one that I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed in just because of the design of the figure itself. I think everyone is just so hyped up and really wants the classic looking Storm Shadow, or maybe the more modern looking, and not specifically this Arctic Mission one, but it's an Amazon exclusive. That's what's going to happen with exclusives for the most part, but we're not going to talk about Cobra Island, but for like Amazon exclusive, to get a different design. A classic looking Storm Shadow will come at some point, a more modern looking one, maybe in Wave 3. We don't really know yet, but for now I think this is a pretty good figure to go along with Snake Eyes and some of the other G.I. Joe figures that are out now. So I think Amazon says this is coming out around October 1st. Those in the UK, they're supposed to get it today, but then everyone's getting these delay emails and these cancellation emails. So be on the lookout, but link in the video description below for Doming if you want to order through them. They have it. Again, they are based in Taiwan, but I am very pleased to have this Storm Shadow. But you guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on it. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.